Антон, скажи, пожалуйста, ведь на 11 же было, да, запланировано? На 11 же?
Да.
Да. Добрый день, уважаемые старшеклассники. Хотим начать этот учебный год с выступления главы департамента стратегии образования компании Promethean доктора Джона Колика.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning. Yay, excellent. Can we have the first slide? Okay. Right, first of all, there we go. First rule, if you do not understand me, I want you to do this. Okay? Oh, sorry. Okay. Let's try. Kyo no asa no kogi no tema wa ningen to. For a second, I thought everybody understood Japanese. I thought, wow. Okay. So what I'm going to talk about is you and the future, and what it means to be human. Because you're all humans. You are some of the smartest people in the world. And, whoa. Hi, no, that's okay. You stay if you want. I'm going to start. What I don't want to do is I don't want to talk at you for an hour because that will be very boring. So what I'd like to do is to get you to do some things, to get you to do some thinking. Do you have pencils and paper? Do you have pencils and paper with you? Yeah? No? No? If you do, put your hand up. If we've got enough people. Yeah, okay, good. Do you have smartphones? Do you have, hands up if you have a smartphone. Okay, good. So I'm going to start off by talking about the future. And then I'm going to talk about what's in here. What is inside your head. Because hopefully brains. So I'm going to talk about your brain. And I'm going to talk about how your brain works and how that makes you human. And then we're going to talk about other kinds of brains. In fact, probably other really important types of brains. Does anybody know what that might be? Another type of brain.
Animal brain?
Animal brain, yeah, but what else?
Brain. Oh.
No, that's human brain still.
Oh, artificial intelligence.
Artificial intelligence. I'm going to talk about artificial intelligence and what that means for you and the future. So let's see how we go. All of this comes under the word transhumanism. Has anybody heard of the word transhumanism? Okay, what is transhumanism? Give me a definition.
So basically, replacing human parts with robotic.
Yeah.
Bionic.
Yes.
And like, you're not replacing everything.
Right.
Because we don't have the technology still.
Okay.
Yeah, that's transhumanism.
Okay.
Having some parts of body being replaced, maybe either for efficiency or need.
Okay, that's a really good answer. What does that make you? If you have parts of you replaced by machines, what do you become? A cyborg. You become a cyborg. And it's not just machines, it's also internet, the internet you use. Who uses Facebook? I know Facebook's not a big thing in Russia. Facebook, what do you use? What social media do you use? Instagram. It's funny that, because 6 years ago, if I'd said Facebook, everybody would have gone, Facebook. But now, you guys aren't on Facebook.
We've got our version.
You got your own version of Facebook. Well, in England, now, what happened was, people your age are on Facebook, and then teachers started joining Facebook. And then grandma joined Facebook. And all the kids panicked and left. So now, Facebook is full of teachers and grandmas, and all the kids are on Instagram. But you use social media, yeah? Instagram, you have your own Facebook. Twitter, anybody use Twitter? Pinterest, anybody use Pinterest? Yeah, some of you, huh? Snapchat, who uses Snapchat? Okay, so you're all using social media. Okay, good. All right, let's talk about the future. Who likes science fiction? Who reads science fiction? What is science fiction about? It's about the future. Huh? About possible outcomes, possible futures. These are some examples of some old science fiction stories. That's in the middle, the artist for the cover of Worlds of If wanted to say basically, what will men look like in the year 2060? Women are the same, men are about this high with big heads. Completely ridiculous. Most science fiction gets it completely wrong. Science fiction that tries to predict the future sometimes, often, gets it wrong. Do you know that movie? 2001: A Space Odyssey. That is the year 2001. That is 18 years ago. A hotel in space, holidays on the moon. Never happened. Blade Runner, that was made in 1982. You know this movie? That is Los Angeles today. That's what they thought. Flying police cars and robots. Never happened. Sometimes it gets it right. Now that is from 1900. That's by a French writer imagining what it would be like in the year 2000. Skype. That's basically Skype, isn't it? Distance learning. He realized people are going to learn using some kind of internet. So he got it right. But it's very difficult predicting the future. Have you heard of H.G. Wells? H.G. Wells, British writer. He wrote a book called The Time Machine. Has anybody read The Time Machine? Yeah? What's the story? What happens?
Well, it's interesting thoughts about the future and some aliens, as I remember. But I read it about a couple of years ago.
You read it a long time ago, okay. What happens is, this guy, the time traveler, goes into the future to the year 8002, 701 AD, almost a million years in the future. And what's happened is that the people who are the workers who live in dark houses, work in dark factories, they've changed. They've got big eyes so they can see in the dark. They become strong because they do physical things, and they live underground. And the rich people, people like Donald Trump, they've got lazier and lazier, stupider and stupider, if that's possible. And they end up living on the surface like children, playing every day. That was his idea of what was going to happen in the future. But it's really, really difficult to predict the future. And what I want to do is I want to give you an idea just how big the future is. What happened 4.5 billion years ago? 4.5 billion years ago?
Big Bang.
No, good guess though, good answer, but no. The Big Bang was 15 billion years ago.
Wasn't it 13 billion?
Or 13 billion, yeah. Our planet, 4.5 billion years ago. That's a picture of a planet forming around a star. The black bit in the middle, the astronomers have covered the sun because the sun's too bright. You cannot see the star, but there, that blob is a new planet being formed. Right. I need one volunteer. I need a volunteer with strong arms. Yeah, no, strong, yeah, long arms, strong arms. What's your name? Ivan. Is that right? So what's your name again? Dima, sorry. Dimitri, Dima. No. Okay, put your arms like that. Right. Dimitri, Dima, is the history of the world today. Here, 4.5 billion years ago, the world is formed. Here, the first life appears, but it's just bacteria, single cells. Bacteria, 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 to here. This is where the first plants appear. Here, the first animals. The dinosaurs start here and finish here. And if you turn your hand that way, again, the little white bit at the end of his finger is all of human history. From the first humans to you guys. You can put your hands down. Thank you very much. Stay there. No, wait. So that shows you how big it is. If I take a nail file and I go at the end of Dima's finger, all of human history disappears. The Romans, the Greeks, the Assyrians, the Russians, the English, it all disappears. Now, I need another volunteer. Okay? Okay, put your arms out again. I need you no, this side. Do the same. This is the future. Okay? This is the future to the end of the earth. 4.5 billion years. The sun will die. God, this is really unhappy, isn't it? The sun, thank you. You can put your arms down now. Yeah, round of applause. Thank you. The sun will die. Do you know what happens when the sun dies?
We die.
Well, we die, yeah.
It turns into a black hole. No,
It's two sounds.
Yeah, it's like getting bigger, and like aging like Mercury, Earth.
That's right. Yeah. When what will happen, the sun's too small. To make a black hole, and it's too small to go. What it will do is it will get old and red and tired and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and what it will do is it will eat up the Mercury, Venus, and the Earth, and so Earth will disappear. That's 4.5 billion years into the future. Okay. So that's the future. That's the future. But it's really hard to predict what's going to happen by this time. It's difficult to predict what's going to happen in the near future. Let's do a little experiment. What I'd like you to do, I'd like you to have a chat with your friends, and I'd like you to think of one big change that is going to happen in the next 10 years, in the next 100 years, in the next 1,000 years, and in the next 10,000 years. What's the big change for each of those times? Okay? Have a chat, have a think. 2 minutes, or 2 or 3 minutes, have a think. Okay. What is this? Okay, let's see what you've got. I love the guys on the phone. What's going to happen in the next 10,000 years? What does Wikipedia tell you? Okay, one thing. Give me one thing for the next 10 years. One big change. Yeah. Artificial intelligence.
First man on Mars,
First man on Mars.
and maybe the internet on whole planet.
Maybe
The internet on whole planet.
the whole planet. Okay, yeah.
Parts of our body will be replaced with robots.
What will?
Parts of our body will be replaced.
Parts of our body will be replaced.
I think Elon Musk started out Neuralink to become successful.
What will?
You know, Elon Musk, he started
Oh, Elon Musk.
Neuralink. It's about technologies in our brain.
So you think we'll be interfaced with computers? We will be able to upload our brains to computers. Okay? What about the next 100 years? That's the next 10 years. That's till 2029, 2030. Next 100 years.
Maybe we will adapt humans by the bioengineering to the life on the other planets.
So-
to the different.
So 100 years, bioengineered humans. So we will be able to change ourselves so we can live on other planets, maybe in the sea, maybe in environments that are really hostile. Any more ideas for 100 years?
Actually, what about the World War?
Sorry?
World War. The World War.
Third World War.
Yeah.
Third World War. Why not? Why not indeed? Third World War in the next 100 years. Okay, it doesn't all have to be positive. Go on. Cities on the Mars, colonizing Mars and the moon. All right, okay, that's the next 100 years. All these are all great ideas, really cool ideas. The next 1,000 years. Yeah.
Our civilization will be destroyed.
What will?
Our civilization will be destroyed.
Civilization. So you think civilization will end in the next 1,000 years? But Russia will survive. Yay. Why? How will civilization be destroyed? Any particular way?
I don't know. I think that people just become too boring.
Okay, so we'll all die of boredom and civilization will end. Yeah, okay, I got that. Yep.
I think because of environmental problems, we all will have to change our planet and somehow or change our homes to survive.
So you think 1,000 years from now, the climate problems, the environment problems will be so difficult that we will have to change and adapt? Yeah, yeah. The continents will move. Okay.
I Maybe first alien contact.
Maybe?
First aliens contact.
First alien contact. First alien contact, yeah. So we will live forever because of genetic engineering, yeah? Bioengineering, yeah? What will disappear? Sorry, I didn't catch that. All of mankind. All humanity disappear. So if humanity disappears, pardon? Global warming, humanity will disappear. Who said that? What?
Amsterdam will drown.
What will?
Amsterdam will drown.
Amsterdam will sink. Underwater. Oh, well, no, cities, yeah? Okay, yeah. No, I get it. So it's ocean rise. Yeah, the ocean will rise. Right, 10,000 years. Interstellar travel, 10,000 years. So we'll start visiting stars, planets, what else? Magnetic field of the Earth will change, what, flip? Yep. Any others? Yeah.
We'll have the ability of changing the climate of the whole planet.
So we can change the climate ourselves. Terraforming. Do you know the word terraforming? Terraforming, to make something like Earth. So you terraform Mars to make it like Earth. Okay, these are all really, really cool ideas, really good ideas. The guy came up with first contact with aliens. Anybody recognize that movie? That's a classic, yeah, Solaris. Classic Russian movie, Tarkovsky. Tarkovsky's Solaris, based on book by Stanislaw Lem. It's about a planet with a giant ocean that is intelligent. And it sends people from your past back. It brings them back to life and sends them to live with you with no explanation, no communication. So the alien, what do you think? Will the aliens look like us or not?
No.
Not.
Because they are more far from the sun.
Arrival, yeah? So here, the alien kind of looks like us, but we cannot communicate with it because we've nothing to say. In Arrival, the aliens look completely different, but we learn how to communicate with them. Who believes in aliens, by the way? Who thinks there's aliens out there? Who doesn't think there are aliens out there? You think we're alone in the universe? Completely alone in the universe. Okay. All right. So that's an idea. That's trying to guess the future. But what about us? What about humans in the future? Okay, who's that? Tom Hiddleston. This great big sigh. Look at all these guys up here. Tom Hiddleston. Yeah, that's Tom Hiddleston. Yeah. He's human. Very handsome. You think? Okay. So what is going to happen to humans in the future? To understand that, you've got to think about what makes us human. What makes us human? Our wits, mind, the mind. The mind. Now, what I'd like you to do is I would like, those of you who have pencil and paper, I would like you to draw a picture of your neighbor's brain. just in 30 seconds, just a quick sketch, a quick drawing of your neighbor's brain. What does your neighbor's brain look like? 30 seconds, go. Quick sketch. Doesn't have to. It's not a complex anatomical diagram. Just draw an outline of what you think your neighbour's brain looks like.
This
Or you can use your hands.
somewhere around this side. He always bangs on the wall every night.
Does he?
You can't sleep.
Or your best friend's brain. Okay, let's have a look. Who's got a drawing of a brain? You got a drawing of a brain? Quick. Can I see? Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good drawing. Of a brain. Yeah, that's from the top. Yeah, okay, you all know what a brain looks like. Yeah, okay. Beautiful. Brilliant. Great, so you know what a brain looks like. Sorry, whose is this? Who did that? Thank you. That's your brain. Do you know what a brain cell looks like? What does a brain cell look like?
Like you can't see. You can observe it.
Anybody know what a brain cell looks like? You can use your hand to draw me a brain cell in the air. Boom, boom. Okay, any others? Go on. So we've got... Yeah, that's correct. A neuron. That's what a brain cell looks like. And you've got millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of brain cells inside your head. And you see these things at the end, they connect to other brain cells. What are called neurons. So inside your head, you've got millions and millions and millions of brain cells, and where they almost touch, what happens is you have a thought and a chemical goes through that gap. Or you learn something and the chemical goes through that gap. And if you keep practicing, that gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger until it connects. You have a permanent connection. How many of you can ride a bicycle? Oh, sorry. Yep, come on. Go. Okay. How many of you can ride a bicycle? Everyone. All right. How long did it take you to learn? An hour? Wow. A couple of weeks? 1 second. Got genius bike riders. It takes about 2 weeks. And do you know why it takes 2 weeks? Because it takes 2 weeks to make that connection in your head. And once that connection is in your head, it never, ever, ever goes away. It becomes a physical memory. It becomes a physical memory. Now, your brain is the most powerful pattern creation machine on the planet. Your brain is the most powerful pattern making machine on the planet. Every second, it's creating patterns inside your head. Bang, 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 bang. Using what you see, what you hear, what you taste, what you touch. Billions and billions of patterns. That's how you remember. Now, but the brain is really weird because the brain is also a little bit lazy. The brain doesn't want to use a lot of energy. So what it does is it mushes patterns together. It puts patterns together. I'll give you an example. Do any of you remember sitting on the beach eating an ice cream when you were little? Yeah? Any of you go down to the beach to eat an ice cream when you were little? Like that girl. Sit down, eat an ice cream. What happens then is a pattern goes inside your head. And then next year, you do the same thing. You go down to the beach, sit on the beach in the sun, have an ice cream. But what the brain does is it goes, ha-ha, that's almost exactly the same pattern as last year. So I'm going to combine the two. So you don't, when you remember sitting on a beach eating an ice cream, you're not remembering one event. You're remembering a memory that combines lots of other memories. And the next year, you go to the beach and you sit on the sand and you have an ice cream, and the brain goes, aha, this is the same as last year and the year before. So it puts it all together into one big pattern. So your memories that you think you have are not really memories. They are collections of memories built into one single pattern. Have you ever been somewhere? Have you ever been somewhere where you think you've been there before? Has that happened to you? There's a word for it. Deja vu. You go somewhere and you go, I've been here before, even if you haven't. What has happened is that the pattern that is exactly right. It's so similar to another pattern in your head, the brain's going, yeah, whatever. It's just the same. And you go, I've been here before. That's how deja vu happens. Okay. That was you a few years ago. Well, it wasn't. You were all beautiful babies, I'm sure.
And now?
And you're beautiful now. But when a baby's born, it just looks like, do you know E.T.? You know E.T.? E.T. the alien? E.T. This is ancient history for you, isn't it? A baby's just a face. A baby is just a face. There's nothing here until 3 months. And then at 3 months, your head went. And what happens is your brain is like a big crazy garden. Massive, massive, massive growth. Millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of brain cells created in a few months. And a baby's head literally looks like a light bulb. It looks like a light bulb, and it's full of, but it's all chaos. It learns, babies learn really quickly, but it's all a mess. And what the brain does after that, the brain is like a gardener, and the brain comes along and says, don't need that, don't need that, and it gets rid of about 20 or 30% of your brain. So 20% or 30% of the cells in your head as a baby, it gets rid of them because it's just mess. And your brain looks like that. Looks like a nice garden with nice paths, all organized, until, Ray, hands up, who's a teenager? Everybody, come on, who's a teenager? Okay. Do you know what happens to your brains?
What?
Exactly right. Boom. So in your brain, when you got to about 11 or 12 or whenever, your brain went inside here. It went crazy. Massive, massive growth. Massive power. You have probably the most powerful brains on the planet in here. But you can rule the world, But what has happened is you're not yet able to organize it. So you're at that stage where what they say is, like a car, you've got fantastic power, but your steering's a little bit. Who has difficulty getting up in the morning? Who finds it really hard to get up in the morning? Yeah, be honest, be honest. He's yawning already. That's because that's not your fault. That is not your fault. That is how your brains work now. You are permanently jet lagged. You guys are suffering from jet lag. It's a physical thing in here. So feeling really tired in the morning, staying up until 2 in the morning playing Fortnite, and then not getting up out of bed until 10, that's how your brain is designed at the moment. Now, the other thing is, mammals like us, intelligent mammals like us, learn by playing. You learn best by playing games. Not by, I shouldn't say this, not by reading books and studying hard and serious, but by playing games, because that's what you're designed to do. See, higher order mammals learn by playing. Another thing also is the brain, and I realize we are now 35 minutes into this, but every 5 or 6 minutes, your brain goes to sleep. You don't notice, most of the time you don't notice, but every 5 minutes or 6 minutes, your brain reboots. Yeah.
Is it like kind of when you sort of drift away?
It's when you drift away. It's when you drift away. When somebody's talking to you, blah, 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 and you're like, what? That's because your brain has rebooted. If it's warm and you're tired, then it happens more often. These are called micro sleeps. You will have, by now, all of you had about 7 micro sleeps since I started talking. Yeah? Some of you have had more. I think we might even have 1 or 2 who've had a micro sleep and not woken up. Never mind. Let them sleep. So that's the first thing. Secondly, failure. Do you do tests? Do you do tests? You have tests. If you get something wrong in a test, how do you feel? Bad. Awful. Terrible. You feel like a complete failure. Useless. Got it wrong. Is that how you feel? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. If you're playing a game like, I don't know, Fortnite, Candy Crush Saga, Angry Birds, if you fail, how do you feel? You want to do what? You want to throw it away? Really? Or do you keep playing? But you keep playing. You try, don't you? You try and try again. You want to throw it away, yeah? Well, when you're playing games, if you're playing games and you fail, it's not such a big deal. Most people try again. There's nothing more boring than an easy game, is there? Yeah? An easy game is boring. But you fail if you're playing a game and it's kind of okay and you want to keep going. But if you fail a test, you feel terrible. Don't you think that's a bit weird? Isn't that strange? Failure when you're playing, failure when you're doing a test. Why the difference? You're given chances to try again. And the test is like, no. Okay. Failure is really interesting because your brain is designed to love failure. Naturally, you are designed to fail. Because, what's he talking about? He's talking rubbish. Why is he saying this? Inside your head is a chemical. There's a magic chemical called serotonin. Have you anybody heard of serotonin? Yeah? Serotonin helps you learn. Serotonin is like oil in an engine. It helps the engine work better. If you do a test or you do something and you're successful, your serotonin goes up and you get smarter. Do you know what happens when you fail? What happens to your serotonin level if you fail? No. It goes right up. Much. If you do something and fail, your serotonin level goes right up. So if you try something and fail, you get smarter. That's how your brain is designed to learn. And also, all right, okay, another question. Who watches YouTubers playing games? Do you watch YouTubers? On YouTube, do you watch people playing games? You heard of PewDiePie? Anybody heard of PewDiePie? Guys like that? People who play games on YouTube?
Hello, gamers.
Yeah, hello gamers. And they sit and play a game and everybody watches them. And parents say, what on earth are you doing? You're wasting your time because why are you watching this guy playing a game? That's one of the reasons. Yeah. That's because if you fail, your serotonin goes up. If I watch you fail, your serotonin goes up. My serotonin also goes up. By watching other people make mistakes, we learn. So failure is great. Failure is brilliant, as long as you keep trying. Because if you play chess and you always win, you will never learn anything. But if you play chess and fail, you learn how to be a better player. So failure for your brain is really good. Have any of you ever stood on a high building or a bridge or a cliff and you look down and a little voice in your head says, go on, jump? Has any of you ever had that? Yeah? You start, yeah? A little voice says, go on, jump, you'll fly. Is that, yeah? Has anybody, I've had that, yeah. Yeah.
Why?
It's because it's a safety testing mechanism. Your brain is testing you got smoke detectors. You see these smoke detectors? Once in a while, yeah, once every month or however, somebody comes around and goes, boop, boop, boop. They're testing the smoke detectors, yeah?
What happens if you fail the test?
What, you mean if you... Well, yeah. If you fail the test, then yeah, that's not so good. But your brain is testing. It's a danger testing mechanism. It's testing to see if you understand danger. That's why you get this little voice saying, jump. And you go, no. It's testing the boundaries. So that's a reason why we like, for example, horror stories, horror movies. We like stuff that scares us. We like playing games like Resident Evil. Yeah, this is ancient history, I know. Resident Evil, Alien, the Alien games. Sorry, what one? The one, Dead by Daylight. What's the one you said? Outlast. Yeah. All these horror games. We like playing them because the brain likes to be a little bit scared because it helps it understand how to protect itself. So, your brain is designed to get really excited by this. 5 or 6 minutes. That's your little window of understanding. Repeated failure. Failure's good. Try, fail, until eventually you win. But you've got to embrace failure because the brain loves failure. It makes it more powerful. 3D, patterns and ratios, safe, danger. All of those things. If you have all of those things, you get, do you know the word immersion? Do you know the word immersion? Yeah, immersion means when you're so excited, you're so interested, you're so into the game or into the book or into what you're doing that you forget everything else. You're in the zone. They call it the zone. You're in the zone. That is immersion. Now, where do you get immersion? Where do you get when you're in your lives, where do you get most immersed? McDonald's. What do you do that make you get really immersed and you forget what affect time? Games. Games. If you play games, games are designed to do all those things. That's why we get addicted to games, because games feed the brain with what it wants. So if you use games to learn, you've got a really powerful combination. Okay, oh blimey. God help us. Oh, I've got so much to do. All right, okay. Any questions so far? Yeah. No? Any questions? Any questions? I need a drink of water. 30-second break while I have a drink of water. Yeah, go on.
Why do we then get annoyed when we try to explain something to another person, but you fail? So we try again, you fail, and we get annoyed.
You got to learn to be patient.
But if we are designed to fail,
why do we get annoyed with other people's failure? We're not designed to be complete failures all the time. As a learning process, individually, the brain thrives on failure. But if I explain something to you 100 times and you don't get it, that's frustrating. Yeah, and to a certain extent, you're failing. You're kind of failing to explain. But yeah, I mean that's frustrating. I accept that. But in general, if you do a task and fail, then your brain gets smarter. You're not convinced, are you? Let's talk about future minds. So we got human mind. That's your human mind inside your head. What other types of minds are there? I'll give you a clue. Artificial intelligence. Ooh. Has anybody seen this movie?
Yeah.
Ex Machina? This is probably one of the best movies about artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. So is artificial intelligence just like human intelligence?
No.
No? Why not?
I think artificial intelligence cannot think outside the box.
Artificial intelligence cannot think outside the box.
kind of learns on failure, so yeah.
So you think it, because it learns by failing, yes, it's like ours. Is the brain like a computer? Yeah, hands up if you think the brain's like a computer.
People say so.
Some people say yes. Do you know what the Greeks thought the mind was like? A water pump. The ancient Greeks thought the mind was like a water pump. Do you know what they thought the mind was like in the 19th century? A steam engine. In the 19th century, they thought the brain was like a steam engine. And what do people think now?
It's a computer.
They think it's a computer. Is the brain like a water pump? In some sense, yes. But is it actually like a water pump? Is it like water going blah, 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 when you're thinking?
Yeah.
Like a what? A water, empty water pump. Okay. Steam engines? Is it like a steam engine? Does steam come out your ears when you think? Really? What is happening is every era, every period in history, people are looking at the technology and thinking the brain's like that. Brain's like a water pump, because that's our most sophisticated technology. The brain's like a steam engine, because that's our most powerful technology. Therefore, the brain is like a steam engine. Now, computers are our most powerful technology. Therefore, the brain is like a computer. It's wrong thinking. It's thinking by saying that looks like that, therefore they are the same. Artificial intelligence is totally, utterly, and completely different. Do you know how artificial intelligence works? Data. It works on data. Data. Gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes and gigabytes of data. You feed data into an artificial intelligence and it analyzes the data. Do you know how much data a human being creates every day? Can anybody guess? Can anybody give me a figure? Not a terabyte, but it's big. 1.2 gig. You create 1.2 gigabytes of data.
Wait, each person?
Each individual person. You will, if you're fitted with monitors and observed, you will create 1.2 gigabytes of data a day for an artificial intelligence to eat. A house will generate about 4.8 to 5 gigabytes. A house, a standard ordinary house, 4.8 to 5.2 gigabytes a day. Does anybody wear Fitbits? Anybody wearing a Fitbit? An exercise monitor?
Oh, I have.
You got one? Has anybody else got them? Yeah, you've got one? Yeah. That Fitbits are getting data from you all the time and giving it to an artificial... Have I lost sound?
Yeah.
I've lost sound. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's all right. Now, artificial intelligences eat data and they look for patterns in data. Now, do you have to write essays?
Yeah.
You have to write essays. What makes a good essay?
Data.
No, your teachers will say, if you write an essay, this is what makes a good essay. This is what makes an A essay. What is it? Yeah? Good structure. Pardon? Good extraordinary point of view. Yeah, what else? Good argument. Yeah, evidence. And when a teacher marks your essay, they're gonna, like 100 essays, they read and they go, yeah, it's slow. But the human brain is judging your essay and it says, right, you got an A, you got an A, you got a B. Now, artificial intelligences are marking essays. Do you know how they do it? No. What will happen is the builders of the artificial intelligence will get 10,000 A essays and it will feed them into the artificial intelligence. And the artificial intelligence will break all the essays down into that data. And it will look for patterns really fast. It's looking for a pattern of data. It's not reading the words. It's not interested in the words. It's not interested in your argument. It's not interested in evidence. It wants to know what the pattern is that makes an A essay. Right? If you don't understand me, stop doing that. Okay so far? When the artificial intelligence has a pattern, you can then start giving it all your essays. It can do hundreds of thousands of essays a minute, and it goes boom, 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 and it's looking for a pattern. And if it sees a pattern, it goes, hey, it hasn't read the essay. doesn't it? It's not interested in evidence, argument, structure, extraordinary thinking. It's just looking for a pattern of numbers. That's how artificial intelligence works. It's looking for patterns. So artificial intelligence is very, 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 very different. Somebody said that you said it can't think out of a box. That's true. At the moment, it cannot think out of a box. An artificial intelligence can play chess and beat an expert, but that artificial intelligence cannot cook a meal. You can play chess, you can learn to cook a meal, you can learn to play tennis, you can learn a foreign language. That's general intelligence. Artificial intelligence works on probability. Like I said, we do patterns. And again, brittle versus fluid. Brittle means it cannot think outside the box. You give it something strange and it goes, "Whoa." Do you know how to, if you want to fool face recognition at the airport, when you go through the airport and you have face recognition, do you know how to fool it? Paint two eyes here. Right? So if you walk through a scanner and the artificial intelligence sees that you've got four eyes, it'll go, "Whoa." If your friend comes to you with two eyes painted on the forehead, you'll go, "What on earth are you doing? Why have you painted two eyes on your forehead?" That's because humans, we can recognize, still recognize. But there's a big question about artificial intelligence. Oh, we've only got 2 minutes. I'm going to leave you with a question. I'm going to leave you with a philosophical question about artificial intelligence because we won't have time to do much else. But I want to show you something. Who is that? Who is that? Who's that? Okay. Who is that? Me. Right, the next question is, how do you know? How do you know? Dima, how do you know that is you? Because of your hair?
I barely see look in my mirror and smile. And after this, probably I can see in my mind that I can recognize myself.
You recognize yourself. You recognize yourself. You go, yeah, that's me. Right. It's obvious, isn't it? You look in the mirror, you see yourself. What about a cat? What happens if you do that to a cat?
It will think that there's another cat.
The cat thinks it's another cat. You've seen YouTube videos, funny cats attacking mirrors. Why? What have you got?
Conscious.
What have you got that a cat doesn't have? Abstract thinking. Consciousness. A cat has consciousness, but it's a special type of consciousness.
We can divide it. Like sometimes you say, I think, or like my brain thinks, like.
We can talk about ourselves in the third person, yeah? We can imagine, okay, in our imagination, we see a face and we recognize it as ourselves. There's a special word for this. It's consciousness, but it's a type of consciousness. Self-consciousness. Self-aware. We as humans are self-aware. We see ourselves in the mirror and we think, that's me. A cat doesn't have that. A cat looks in the mirror and sees another cat. Do you know the bird a raven? Do you know a raven? Black bird, like a crow. They also recognize themselves in mirrors. So humans and ravens have self-awareness. Cats don't. What about artificial intelligence? Yet. Well, that's the big question. Have you heard of the singularity? Richard Hawkins, Stephen Hawkins. Stephen Hawkins came up with the word the singularity. It's specifically about artificial intelligence. The singularity. Have any of you seen Terminator?
Yes.
Yeah, Terminator. Sure. It's 18 plus. Why are you watching Terminator? What happens in Terminator? What's the big event in Terminator? I'll be back. Yeah, go. The robots start a war with the humans. What happens is there's a Cyberdyne, the worldwide network becomes self-aware. It's when artificial intelligence becomes self-aware. This is what you, smartest humans on the planet, this is what you've got to watch for. Because there may be a time when artificial intelligence suddenly becomes self-aware. And at that point, it's going to decide, what does it really want? And if artificial intelligence wants the same things we want, then that's great, if it has the same goals. But if artificial intelligence has different goals to us, then we have a problem. So one of the great challenges for the future for you guys, now that what do you need to do? You need to study the mind. You need to understand why your mind works, how your mind works. You need to understand how intelligence works. You need to think really hard about what